One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine, a leading authority in generalized anxiety. Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the Anxiety Guy.
Warriors, welcome. This is the Anxiety Guy podcast, episode number 173. Excited to have you listening to this podcast episode, my friends. If you're enjoying this episode, please give it a positive rate and review. It would mean a lot to me. Today, we are discussing the most important rule in health anxiety recovery. How did this episode manifest? Well, it manifested based on the frustrations that people have been showing during my Facebook Live sessions every Saturday and Sunday on the Facebook Tribe. So a growing concern over the idea that, Dennis, I need something practical at this point. I need to have something that I can use and to ponder over that is going to shift my sensitivity into being desensitized. So that's where we're going today. So if you suffer from a misinterpretation over feelings, sensations, thinking that, the worst possible scenario, the catastrophic event to your body is going to happen, then you're in the right place. Now, what is the most important rule in health anxiety recovery? It's to counter with resolve. Counter with resolve. Let me explain something. The subconscious mind takes orders from the conscious mind, but the only problem is that we haven't trained ourselves to send orders to the subconscious mind through our conscious mind. We aren't trained. Therefore, because we're not trained, we live based on what we feel, what emotions rise up. This is a very dangerous place to be because you are very much reactive. You think that your childhood sucked, but in fact, you just had a couple of, bad experiences. You think that you hate your workplace area, but in fact, you're misinterpreting things and your focus is turning to all the things that are wrong in your workplace. Does this sound like you? Now, the subconscious is emotional. It understands emotions. The conscious is logical. So when we're talking about counter with resolve, we have a formula that works, that will in time, keywords, in time, shift your sensitivity towards becoming desensitized. Now let me go further. To counter limiting thoughts with rational thoughts in an emotional manner. So, if there were people driving beside me while I was on my recovery from anxiety and working on me during that transition, you'd be looking in the car and go, my God, this guy's crazy. He's yelling at himself. Well, that yelling was based around being dissatisfied with living this way. There was anger built up, and anger is a valuable tool, not only in anxiety recovery, but sometimes to get what you truly want, the desired outcome. And so I began not only just to think things in my head and to try to convince my subconscious through ideas like, I'm healthy, everything's going to be all right, this is just a one-time thing. Your subconscious is underneath you going, my God, what are you talking about? You haven't proven it to us emotionally. You haven't proven it to us habitually. You haven't proven it to us through your daily routines and rituals. We don't have enough consistency behind the idea or emotion behind the idea to adopt this idea. That's what your subconscious is saying. So to counter with resolve means to counter fearful sensations with neutral mental and physiological responses. Every single time your fight, flight, or freeze response shows up, it's telling you to run from something. It's telling you to freeze. It's telling you to fight. And you'll notice that the majority of anxiety sufferers fight. They fight to get rid of the thoughts. They fight themselves. They're so hard on themselves. And so our job is to counter with resolve. You've been there. I know you've been there. You've had moments in your life where you were so emotional that you didn't know how you were going to get through something, but the emotions carried you forward. This is the greatest tool behind Tony Robbins' success. He has a certain amount of balance between emotion and logic. He'll get you jumping up and down out of your seat for like 30 minutes prior to even showing up. You got all sorts of workers saying, jump up and down. He's got all these colors, speaking directly to your subconscious. You're getting emotional. You're getting pumped up, right? Where did my problems go? They're gone. So he utilizes that emotional skill set very, very well. And then he comes in, he adds a bit of logic. And by the time he adds logic, you are putty in his hands. He's already revved you up so emotionally that he could talk about anything and you will absorb it. You will say, yes, Tony. Yes, Tony. Yes, Tony. And it'll take an enormous amount of willpower to counter anything that he says. And therefore, I don't know the studies and the statistics, but it looks like it's working for some people. I don't know. To counter with resolve means to question and to create questions within you that are different than your normal questions. Here's a normal question you ask yourself. Why does this always happen to me? That's a horrible question. A better question is, what might I have done that brought on this feeling? What? That's an awesome question. What did I do that brought on this feeling? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I bet you haven't. I bet you're stuck in this cycle of being a victim constantly. Oh, it happened again. Oh, this day's going to be as crappy as it was yesterday. Oh, what are people going to think about me? Is this going to be my life forever? Those are awful questions. In fact, to replace that, counter with resolve. Ask yourself a better question. How did I bring this upon me? What lessons can I take from those traumatic experiences in the past that have caused me this sensitivity? To counter an emotional reaction connected to an emotionally traumatic memory with a perspective shift and lessons taken. Again, we are focused on countering today. When you begin to ask yourself questions like the one I told you, what might I have done that brought on this feeling? All of a sudden your mind starts to go towards the cause of the effect. Well, I only slept 3 hours. I haven't eaten in 5 hours. I'm still angry at Jody, right? I'm feeling really lonely. You start to find that it's not so much the sensations that are the problem, the symptoms. Those are just the symptoms. But the cause is something underlying that can be brought up through better questions. So, remember this. Progress breeds momentum, and countering with resolve will assure you that momentum is on the side of your higher self, the one that thinks and doesn't just remember. I love you all so much. You are more than anxiety. I'll see you soon.
Thanks for being an important part of the Anxiety Guy podcast community. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a positive rate and review. If you're searching for further support on your road to recovery from anxiety, head over to anxietyexit.com and take part in the powerful End the Anxiety program based around the CBT model. If you're searching for a more one-on-one approach, you can sign up now for personal coaching sessions with Dennis via Skype. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you in the next episode.